Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
We're on stage at the Port Theatre in Nanaimo on Saturday night. Order of Canada member Peggy Baker will be presenting Coalesce and Armour, an audio action tour. We're going to talk about that and show you a bit today on Go. From Nanaimo to Seattle, direct. Ferry cuts have a huge impact for Gabriolans and technology at the library. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Peggy Baker has been acclaimed as one of the most outstanding and influential contemporary dancers of our generation. She's in her 60s and is an icon of Canadian culture. We'll join Peggy Baker in conversation later about her upcoming show here at the Port Theatre. But first, the path from Nanaimo to Seattle has gotten broader and more direct. Here's Annette Lucas. Coalesce and Armour, an audio action tour, takes place here at the Port Theatre on Saturday. That is January the 18th. We're here now with Peggy Baker, a Canadian icon in the world of contemporary dance. And we're going to get right into it. What is this show?
It's in 2 acts. The first act is like a live documentary on the making of the work that you're going to see performed in the second half. So I've got a film screen up, and my computer open so I can do a PowerPoint, and my dancers are on stage, and I'm guiding the audience through what I call an audio action tour. The audio is my voice speaking, the action is my dancers demonstrating elements of the choreography, and the tour is a look inside of the methods, the structure, the inspiration of the works they're going to see fully lit and costumed and danced in the second half.
When I first read that, I thought, what a great way to make contemporary dance more accessible to general audiences. But I've learned since that wasn't your motivation, isn't the motivation in presenting the work this way.
Sure, accessible, but you know, my biggest motivation is I want to share my ideas, and I want to let people know what this crazy world, like how would you get an idea for a dance and how would you start putting it together? And that's what I really want to share with the public, because I think that it's a pretty mysterious world. There's not that many people who choreograph dances. And if you're not making steps that go to music, what would another way of making a dance be? And that's I'm going to demonstrate, just in relation to the work on the program that we're going to be performing.
You presented this in New York?
In New York.
How was it received?
And in Calgary and Vancouver. Great. People love it. They're all saying, oh, I'm so happy that I heard all those ideas, because in the second half, I just felt like I could take it in so easily. And that's what I want to do. I want to create a situation where the audience can have an immediate entry point into the work and not be sitting wondering, is this serious or funny, or
what am I supposed to feel, or what is the meaning? And okay, we're going to talk more with Peggy Baker later on this edition of Go Island. I made the analogy earlier, a piece of artwork in my home means so much more because I know the artist and the process behind it, and you can experience that through dance with dance here at the Port Theatre on January the 18th. We're moving from modern dance to sports at Vancouver Island University. Here's Matt Carter. Still to come, ferry cuts go deep on Gabriola Island and the library helping with on-the-go gadgets. Did you know that February 24th is National Cupcake Day? For SPCAs and humane societies, last year we raised over $400,000 nationwide by generous people just making cupcakes and selling them to their friends, their family, their co-workers. You can even have a team. We'd really appreciate it if you help the abused, neglected, and unwanted animals in your community by joining us with this really fun fundraiser. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. Once again, BC Ferries is being hit with some serious cutbacks, and Gabriola Islanders are being impacted in a huge way. They've gathered together and are working at putting a face instead of just a number and a route time on how those cuts will impact them. Here's Rayanne LaPlante. And just a note that Rayanne did contact BC Ferries for comment. She was referred to the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure, who makes the selections on particular route cutbacks. They were unavailable for comment. If you'd like to keep up on the I Live Here campaign, there's a website you can visit. It is www.gabrielafac.com. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We've described to you what Coalesce and Armour and Action Audio Tour is, but we haven't talked about the content. And
Right.
yeah, so
Right.
what's happening? What story are you telling, if there is one?
I'm working from two different sources. One is the visual art of Sylvia Safdie, who's an artist in Montreal who does painting, sculpture, and film. And the films happen to be of insects, and she's sort of choreographed on these insects by speeding the film up, slowing it down, looping it backwards.
And what inspired you about her work in that film in particular?
Oh, she's totally into the magic of the natural world, and all of her canvases and all of her sculpture and her film have to do absolutely with the natural world. And it just so happened that she was offering me these films as a source, a possible source for choreography, at the same time that I was reading science essays by Lewis Thomas about social insects. So there was all kinds of information about especially the sensory pathways for communication: light, heat, vibration, and pheromones. So as opposed to our human sensory apparatus, which is primarily sight, sound, touch, and then taste and smell, heat, light, vibration, so very, very different sensory pathways that lead to different kinds of movement.
Were you reading that as research for dance or personal interest, and is there a difference?
I was reading it as research because my collaborator in New York City, Doug Verone, was making a dance based on these essays, and I said, wow, that's crazy. You're using science essays about social insects, and I'm looking at film footage of social insects, and so we decided it would be fantastic to put elements of both of our choreographies into one performance. So Armour is choreographed by Doug Verone, working from these Lewis Thomas essays about social insects. And Coalesce is my own choreography, a trio based primarily on these films by Sylvia Safdie, and then of course being influenced by the readings I was doing in these science essays.
Okay, I'm resisting asking more questions because if I stop now, it means we'll have enough time to come back and join Peggy Baker once more here at the Port Theatre. Before we run out of time, we're going to throw things over now to Kelly Robinson. There's a really cute little cat that needs a home. Peggy Baker is celebrating her 40th anniversary as a modern dancer, starting out in group performances and companies, going solo, and now coming somewhat full circle back to the group again.
Yes.
Why?
Oh, it's so beautiful to be able to translate that whole big, rich career, and especially the solo work, to be able to share all the insights I gained doing that work through the incredible dancers who are my collaborators in this new phase of my life, which is creating choreography for small ensemble. The very first work I did is Coalesce in 2010, and it's a trio. And so what I'm presenting in Nanaimo is my the entry point into this brand new chapter of my dance life.
And how do you decide whether you will be a part of that ensemble or if you will just share through the choreography?
Oh, I'm just sharing now. Okay. If I do something else, I won't be in any of these group works. I might still dance a solo or a duet, but it will be, I'm not going to be part of a big dance anymore.
Is there a mentorship element to this?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
There's mentorship going on through every phase of the dance career. You're either being mentored or you're mentoring, because everything happens one-on-one, in real time, face-to-face.
Live to tape, as we say.
That's right. In a dance studio, so in a rehearsal hall or in a theater or whatever the performance venue is, we're all learning and sharing together, multi-generational. So I'm learning from my young dancers just as I'm nurturing their professional life.
This will be the question that sets me over time, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. Do you ever see yourself stopping dance? Another 40 years, another 30 years.
Oh gee, 40, I'll be 100 and something years old. But anyway.
So that's okay,
no,
another 30 years.
No, this is my life. It's not just my dance life, it's the life I lead. It's the life I live. and the balance of it changes. So the balance for me is less performing now, and even more creation, more mentorship, more teaching. So the balance has shifted a little bit, but no, this is what I do.
Thank you. Experience that balance for yourself here at the Port Theatre on Saturday. You can get your tickets through the Port Theatre Ticket Centre. We're going to throw things over now to Derek Johnstone. You might think about the library as somewhere to get your hands on paper and old-fashioned books. Well, they're going high-tech, and they can give you a hand with the other kind of devices in our life as well. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. Coalesce and Armour, an action audio tour. Okay, I've been instructed to give away a pair of tickets to the show Saturday night here at the Port Theatre, 7:30. If you'd like to win, all you need to do is send me an email, actually, and we'll do a random draw, kate.bergen@sjrb.ca, and we'll notify the winner by Friday at 6 p.m. Thanks for watching this edition of Go Island. We'll see you here at the Port Theatre on Saturday night.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kate's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Maffeo Salon.